Hello, world. Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. My name is Jeremy, and I, uh, I, this is my first video, that I've really recorded myself. So, I mean, but anyway, um, I just wanted to show you how you can use uh, Unraid to to connect to a virtual machine, so you can like run Photoshop in Linux or the Adobe Creative Cloud, basically. So this is Ubuntu 20.04. Um, it is This is what I've started using as my daily driver. It's a I've used Ubuntu for years, learning it on web servers and that kind of thing. But but I've been using Unraid for a while, and I use Unraid for for basically um, to run Plex. I have some Docker containers that run a lot of really cool little apps, and these are all my disks. It's a fantastic piece of software, and it has a wonderful community behind it too, right? So there's great help. And Raid's built on Slackware, so it's kind of like a build it yourself Linux. And this is like, so if you have an old computer laying around, even a laptop would work. But I would highly recommend a desktop, so that way you can customize it, add more RAM, add more, because actually even use a couple video cards on here. I have a P2000 that I use for Plex. It'll handle almost unlimited raids, or not unlimited raids, but unlimited HDR connections, that kind of thing. So I can handle a lot of streams for for my friends and family that connect to my Plex server. And so this is the great thing about this is here is really I think the unsung hero of Unraid is the virtual machine aspect, right? So as you can see here, I can try out different versions of Linux. This is actually my Windows configuration. So right now, I'm using 44 gigs of RAM for this, just because I'm using it for mainly Adobe, right? So I do plan on upgrading the processor when um, as the demand lessens, right? And processors get cheaper. I am using a GTX 1650 graphics card, and that's just to make basically what it does is in RAID you can pass through a video card to your VM. Now, since I do have the VNC video driver on there, it kind of acts funny with uh, with VNC. So you can't really run VNC. You're gonna have to use something like TeamViewer or Guacamole. Um, like here's TeamViewer, and basically from here, what I can do is I just enter my VM's info and then connect through that. So then that way there's less of a problem with the mouse actions, that kind of thing. Now it automatically hides your wallpaper right away. You can optimize it for speed or quality. I mean, in most cases, you're going to want to optimize for speed. You're going to probably even want to hide your wallpaper. Um, it's okay. We'll just make it look good, you know. And it's Doctor Strange, so you know. So I'm going to switch over to full view here, and I am going to show you how well Photoshop works in this, just so that way you can get a good idea. So if you're in the if you're an industrial professional for like marketing in development or design, those kind of things. It's historically been really, really tough to to try to get Adobe to run in Linux. I mean, there's a lot of people like that suggest like Play On and Wine, but in my experience, the performance just it's just not there. So for a long time, I've really wanted to use Linux as my daily driver, and so this is a good way for you to like. Yeah, I mean, it works on Red Hat or Debian based distributions, right? So you can either use like Fedora or Ubuntu or basically almost I'd say any of the majority of the mainstream distros. I think you can even probably I don't know about I think you can even use it in Arch. I'm not sure. So I you just that's something you want to dig around in, but I'm pretty sure you can get it to work. So I mean this is just some this is this is just basically a quick little demo on real time on how Photoshop would actually it actually works, right? So so I can use layer mask. Don't worry about that. Like the when you're using your brush, you're gonna have a little bit of visual lag, but it's really nothing to worry about. Like it's just when you're when you're doing it over a remote connection like this, it's probably gonna just seem like a little laggy, but it's really not. I mean, it it works perfectly. I can flip through my layers just just fine, and so it's just man, it's so awesome that I can finally use Linux and Unraid is just man, wow. I mean, I got this thing for a file server and a media server, but I didn't realize all the applications that you can do for the for it is like is you can use it for gaming. I mean, really, if you wanted to, you could set up a souped up computer and you can actually run video games through this and actually play like Gears of War or Cyberpunk 77 over over the internet, right? On your MacBook Pro even too. So this is but here's a little demo on how well Illustrator works. It's pretty pretty freaking awesome, flipping fantastic. So I mean, there you go. It it does work really great. Let's just put a stroke on that. It duplicated that. So anyway, like I mean, you can see you can do. I mean, if you're gonna have a lot of gradients, I'm sure. I mean, it works great for flat stuff, but I mean, I haven't really dug into how well it works on gradient meshes and those kind of things. But wow, all I can say is this is awesome for me because I can finally use. I can really just finally use Adobe in Linux, and it is just awesome. I have tried Premiere. Um, it's not too bad. I really wouldn't want to do some 4K intensive footage. That at some point there's just you're going to have to realize, you know, when you're doing certain things that you're just going to have to reboot into Windows. But my biggest problem is why I can't use Windows for my daily driver is because I just had all kinds of issues with Vagrant and permissions errors with permissions, VirtualBox, and Ansible, those kind of things. I use this is actually, let me just get out of here. So that's how that works. But really, as far as it goes, this is fantastic. You should check out Unraid. It's got a great community, awesome, awesome piece of software. And so for like more than 6 devices, it costs like 120 bucks. Um, you can do basic for 60 and 6 attached. I have like 8, but I also have some. I have more. I have more than 12. So I use a Pro, but it's just a it's just great. You could use it on an old laptop, old computer, those kind of things. And you can even buy just an older, buy some used stuff, so that way you can actually use your real good computer for for Linux, and then you can actually use another one and set it up for Unraid. And if you get like an older video card or cheaper video, I'd say a used or cheaper video card, then it's great. But I had a Hackintosh, and the way I set it up, it just it's just been all of a sudden quitting on me in the past few days. So, but really, like, I really love open source projects. These are kind of the tools that I use every day right here. So, and as you can see, um, actually closed out, but it Adobe worked fantastic on here. It's something I'm really looking forward to. Like I said, if there's some heavy video editing, I'm just gonna probably reboot into Windows. I mean, I have Windows. I triple boot on this thing, so on one SSD I have Windows, one SSD I have Ubuntu, and the other SSD I have Mac OS. So I've been running a Hackintosh for a few years now, and it's been great. But there's just you know every once in a while you just got to keep it up to date, and the text is sometimes it's just more of a pain in the rear, and it's just sometimes it's some things just the work involved. I mean, you really have to love it because it just does take a lot of work and tons of research. And if you're just a Linux enthusiast and you're wanting to run Adobe, and you've tried Wine, and you've tried Unraid, or Play On, I'm sorry, and they're just giving you it's just not the performance that you're really used to or looking for, and you're sick of running Windows or Mac OS. Like, this is the way to go. Like, I mean, it's just this has this is fantastic. This is so good. I've really been enjoying it, and it just Linux is so much smoother, and it's it just works. And unfortunately, you do have to invest some time in in the terminal. I mean, but the terminal is great. The terminal is really like where I do all my dev work, right? So here I use mm, I use Z Shell. It's kind of like the new Macs have since Catalina they've started using that. So I usually try to put this on all my Linux installations, and it's it's nice. I mean, it's very good. And then so if you're starting out, I strongly urge all you young developers to really look into the command line too, because once you there's so many great automated tools that CLF provides, and it's just it just makes your life a whole lot easier because you can always do stuff much faster on a command line than you can through a GUI. and a lot of like my tools that I use for building sites and development work, I just use like Webpack, Gulp, and things like that. So it's I can, and what the great thing about this too is Microsoft's made VS Code pretty portable, so I can put this across like Windows, Linux, and Mac. I mean, that's the best thing about it, and I can always keep my plugins and settings and themes synced, and I just sign in with GitHub. So if you're looking to run Adobe on Linux, I really think this is the way to go. I've been using it for a little bit now, and it's wow, what an amazing piece of software. And thanks to the community. I mean, there's just a lot of great help. If you ever run into problems, there's somebody else that's ran into the same problem you have. I'm sure, and so, but if you even just want to do a really cool gaming computer that passes through where you can you can play your system from anywhere, like on your even on your laptop, right? So I mean, because it just connects through TeamViewer or browser, right? So I think it's a great way to do it, and it is. There are some growing pains, right? I mean, so it just takes a lot of work and a lot of reading, but the payoffs are truly worth it. And so if if you have to if you're in a position where you have to use Adobe, like me, because all of my old stuff is built on that. I do love GIMP and Inkscape, those kind of things. And when I'm in a pinch and I just need to resize stuff, sure, I'll use that because the native performance just is just far superior. But I, I'm just really kind of blown away that I've been able to figure out how to, finally use Adobe and get the get the performance that I'm looking for, and it's all through Unraid. So anybody that is looking for that on how to use that without constantly rebooting, switching into Windows just to edit some pictures or make a flyer, those kind of things, then take a look at this because this not only will you have a great file server and you can actually have you can make your operating systems a lot more disposable. You can you can actually you can just save all your important stuff on your file server, right? And then you can actually just keep your operating systems much smaller and leaner so you don't have to worry about losing your stuff all the time, and you can just put on anything you want. You don't have to worry about if you have to reinstall it. It's not a big deal. That's the best part about having your own stuff and taking care of your own stuff through a file server, right? And so check out Unraid. It is a separate computer, right? So you will you're gonna. It just sucks that you kind of have to invest into another one, but there's tons of options available. You can make them, you know, if you really shop right and smart, shop as smart. Anyway, uh, uh, you know, Evil Dead reference, Evil Dead 2, actually. But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. But those are some great ways about getting in and really being able to use Linux as your daily driver, and also be able to use the Adobe Creative Cloud along with it. It's just I can't tell you how thrilled and happy I am to be finally using this stuff and using Linux as my daily driver. It's just been a godsend to me because at this point too there's just about everything now on Linux that there is for other stuff. I mean, for every other operating system. Like, sure, I can't use CyberDuck and that kind of thing, but it's okay. I mean, they make really cool little FTP uh, plugins for VS Code, or you can just use FileZilla. It's you know, some stuff is just sure, it's just not nearly as great, but in the end, you can get by. with it just fine. So I'd say I'd urge everybody to check who's stuck in the same position that I am, that where you're forced to use the Creative Cloud, and for all your old projects. And this is a great way to do it. I mean, it's not the cheapest, but it's certainly the best that I've came across. So if you have any questions, any on how I set this up or built this up, I mean, just ask, drop a line in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to help you the best I can. But just certainly check into Unraid, and thanks to the Unraid and Linux communities both for having so much great support out there. I mean, if you want to, it's just you know it's a nice journey where you can just take some time, invest in yourself, and just go out there and search, because everything you'll ever need is out there, right? It's just it's it just takes some work and it takes some time, and unfortunately there's no magic wand for this stuff. But I hope this helps the community and everybody that's again stuck where I was. And I really hope that this is a viable solution for you, and to where you can actually just bring up TeamViewer, connect into your Windows 10 box. I mean, they also have Mac in a box too. So all you Mac nerds, you should be able to actually run Catalina and Big Sur on, and even Mojave on Mac in a box. So through Unraid. So I haven't tried it just because I have a Ryzen and I already have a Hackintosh, so I don't need to. I mean, I just I already have it, so that's just a road I haven't gone down yet. Maybe later I will, but for right now, I'm just really glad I get to use Linux. I mean, might be even switching over to Fedora pretty soon, but I mean, I just can't say enough great things about it. And yeah, so have a great day, everybody, and keep on open sourcing and learning on. Take care.